But what's really cool about Profound AI and what it does is that it can be integrated into your existing business applications. So we can build agents and give them capabilities and access to data, which we'll see in this one, and add huge business value, and then put that into our existing applications without changing the backend code, without having to write any code in lots of cases on the front end side, and we get all kinds of increased functionality and a lot of real business value, including things like data analytics. So we can, if we give the AI agent access to data, it can use that to actually give us insights. So let's take a look at what that might look like. So I have an agent here that is designed to help during customer service order entry interactions. You can see here in our guidance, we're assisting enterprise application user, providing insights and information on customer and order ID being inquired upon. The customer ID is, and you'll notice I've got this variable in my prompt. Order ID is, and again, another variable. So we're going to actually pull those from the screen and provide those as part of the prompt when this agent is actually activated. So we're giving it context, so it knows what screen we're on. It knows, what customer we're looking at on the screen, or what order for that customer that we're looking at. And you may be asked to give insights on the customer and all of its orders. So you know what order we're on, but you're not restricted to that one order, or all customers. So you know what customer we're looking at, but the user can ask questions about other customers. We have a bit here, always include the customer's company name, always refer to products by name. That's something that I stuck in there because sometimes the AI will just use a SKU number for a product, or maybe just the customer's customer ID within the system instead of their actual name when giving responses, which may be fine. But if I'm new to the company, I really don't know, that Save A, for example, is Save a Lot stores or whatever. So it gives a more user-friendly response. And then it's just some instructions, follow the context of the questions. This is interesting. The way this database is designed, there's actually not an order total on the order header. So we just, instead of programming, we just tell the AI how to get an order value. So we tell it can be calculated by summing up the order line extended value, which is unit price times quantity times 1 minus the discount. And then the order freight can be added to give an order grand total. So we didn't have to program it to, oh, you have to go get the detail records and do this math on them and add it all up and then add this. We just kind of described it, and the AI can use that. So that's our prompt. Now, in this prompt, we've given this agent access to a few things. So if we take a look, let's start with data access. So we can actually give this agent access to tables within our database. Honestly, within any database that we support. So it can be, your IBMI and DB2 data for that. You see here in my test environment, I've got some MySQL servers running out in AWS or in Aurora. I've got a Microsoft SQL server running in Azure. You can have an Oracle database, so, whatever databases you have, you can actually give the agent access to any of them or none of them, entirely up to you. So once we have databases configured, we have to give an agent access to specific tables. So you can see here, I've actually said, okay, this agent can see my order table, my order detail table, my product table, but you'll also notice I have to give it permission to individual columns. So in this case, I've said, it can't see these last two columns. um, categories, my shippers table, basic information about orders that I'd like the AI to be able to use. Now, another important point I'll bring up here is that I don't actually give the model direct access to these tables. So the way that works is that when a question is asked or when the prompt is sent to the model, it actually gives it a description of the database and says, I want you to answer this question given a database that looks like this. So it describes the tables and the columns that are available. And then the model then comes back and says, will you please run this SQL statement for me? Which gives us kind of a buffer. So a lot of companies are worried about giving AI direct access to their data, understandably so. So this is read-only access for one, and also the Profound AI product is kind of a buffer in between. So the Profound AI product then looks at that SQL statement and parses it and makes sure that it's not violating what we've set up here in our data access. So prompt injection is a thing. It is possible to fool an AI into trying to do something that it shouldn't. Trying to access, if I were, someone with ill intent and I happen to know the database layout of the entire system, I could try to ask the AI, hey, go and access this data in this specific table. But because we have this mechanism in place, we actually parse that SQL statement and make sure that only these tables and only the columns that are specifically listed are accessed in any SQL statements that are requested. So if it passes that check, we go and we grab the data, we send the results back up to the model so that it can continue its analysis. So adding, a new table is really just a matter of hitting the add button, choosing which of the databases we want to grab information from, and what schema are we pulling it out of, and just choosing a table or view that we want to be included. Really straightforward. So that's the data access side of things. I also have some routines that I've given this particular agent access to do. You saw we had order tables and product tables and category tables all inside of here. We didn't have our customer table in there though. And that was intentional so that we can show another feature here, which is I have a routine to get customer phone and fax. But you can see I have a step here that's actually just calling an IBMI program to be able to retrieve that information. So I can, in this case, I'm calling an RPG program to get back the customer information. So it's going to give me back the company name and phone number and fax number. There are others here for retrieving a list of order dates. Here's one for getting the weather for a location. So if we have a REST service, if you have other applications that maybe aren't IBMI applications, and you want to be able to call something in some other system, if they have APIs, you can call them. So I have a step here to call a REST API. In this case, it's just retrieving weather, but that could be any API. And that, again, that makes that API available to this AI agent. So we've kind of combined things. So routines, data access, if I had knowledge documents I wanted to add to this agent, I could add those too. So we could have all of those different sources of information and functionality within one agent in order to give it a full picture of what's going on so that we can then ask questions and get a more complete answer. So with that, let's take a quick look at this running in an application. So I'm gonna launch a browser tab. And here we'll pull up, I have just a really simple order entry type of screen. So we can take a look at customers here. And I love this particular demo because it's really fun, the things that we can do. So I'm gonna take a look at a specific customer, Save a Lot Markets here. And you can see I have a list of all of their orders. This is based on grocery data, so that's kind of how this will go in. So I'm going to go into one of the orders. Once I'm in, you'll see here at the bottom of my screen, I have this little icon, and that is how I will launch my agent. So here's my agent running inside this business application. So I can start asking it questions. I can ask very simple questions like, what is this customer's most purchased item? Maybe I just want to know. And asking that question, it knows what customer is on the screen right here. It's going to go out, retrieve the data for me, and just give me a simple answer to the question. So they order something called Kanbu, and they've ordered 248 units. But we can start to ask it more complex things. So to save some time, I'm not going to type everything. So I can ask it, for example, to graph this customer sales in 2023 by category. And it will actually go out and do that for me. I don't have to go out into a reporting or a BI tool in order to get that information. I can just ask my agent, build me a graph. And they'll go out and retrieve the data. As you can see, it shows you the steps as it's happening. So it accessed the data. Now it's calling the data analytics routines, and that's what actually builds things like charts or downloadable files or the different things that we can do within the AI. As for the time it takes to do this, there's a lot of variables. We're using ChatGPT or the GPT APIs, which is OpenAI, and it depends on how busy they are, as well as network connections and all kinds of things. But as you can see, it gave me a chart of exactly what I asked for. I can, this chart is an image, so I can just right click it, save it, and drop it into something if I want to. But I can also ask for insights and recommendations for this customer. So for example, I could ask a question like, based on order history, what types of promotions will increase beverage sales to this customer? So that's not a simple data question, right? That is, hey, look at the data and make some recommendations for me. So that's going to use not only the data, but generative AI's knowledge that it's compiled during its training in order to give me meaningful information based on this particular customer. And as you can see, it's giving me a lot, a whole lot actually. So I think it's pretty clear that there's a whole lot of information that I can get from this to be able to come up with some new promotions. So determine which type of promotions. It's helpful to consider the following based on the order history. So it's telling me how it's making these decisions. So it wants to look at customers' favorite products and seasonal trends and bulk purchases. It's also talking about we might want to introduce things like loyalty programs. Then to get more concrete suggestions, look at the beverages previously ordered. Because I asked it for types of promotions to increase beverage sales for this customer. So saying, okay, well, these are the most popular beverages that they order. And then considering all that information, you might want to offer discount offers on their popular brands. You might want to bundle things. So create bundled offers that combine top selling beverages with other popular items or new introductions. Seasonal marketing campaigns. Exclusive preview and tasting events. Again, all kinds of ideas that it can throw out for me as a customer service rep on things I might want to try, or as a company, a marketing department, things I might want to try. We can even ask it something a little more specific. So it mentions seasonal marketing campaigns there. So I can ask it, again, this is conversational, so it knows what customer we're talking about and it knows the things that it's said so far. So I could ask a question like, when would seasonal promotion on beverages be most effective for this customer? And again, it'll take a look at the trends of what was been ordered by this customer, and then it will give me some insights. It's calling data analytics, so I guess it's decided to show me a chart as well. It can decide to do that in its explanation. So there we go. Looking at beverage sales by month, it's kind of broken that out for me. And so it says beverage sales peak in April, another significant increase in October. Therefore, seasonal promotions on beverages would be most effective if they are timed around these 2 months. April might indicate a preference for beverage during the spring season. So it's even aware of, the seasons of these months. So it's saying, okay, April might indicate a preference for beverages during the spring season, possibly anticipation of warmer weather. October's increase could be related to seasonal changes as well, possibly associated with autumn beverages or preparations for the holiday season. Again, not just a simple query. It is querying the data, but it's also using all of the training information that generative AI has had to give you insights to that data and recommendations. And again, a lot of power. And even something that you may not even think is possible here is I can even say, all right, we've been talking about all this, but what I really want is I just want to get an Excel file with all the beverage orders so that I can play with these numbers myself. So create an Excel file listing all beverage orders for this customer for 2023. And it will go out and do that. The data analytics step is going to take a little longer because not only is it compiling the information, it's also has to build the Excel file and then make it available as a link so that I can download it. So it just takes a minute for it to actually go through and build that for me. But there you see it's actually done so. I can download my beverage orders 2023 file. So I can then come over and open that. And here we have it in Excel, and you can see here it's giving me a list of the orders, what products, what the order dates were, the product name, quantity, unit price, discount. That's what it assumed I wanted because I wasn't specific. If I wanted more, I could absolutely tell it to create me an Excel file with these specific pieces of information, and it would build that out for me. Again, but I can get that without going to another tool, without involving IT. I can just hop in and grab that information. All right. Again, this is one of my favorite demos because there's just so much that's possible here. I could talk about this for an hour. But I hope that it gives you some insights on what's possible with, again, just a little bit of work in Profound AI and the power of a large language model running behind it.